Hello, my name is Hannah Cooper, and this is my diversity reflection for lesson 3. Some of the thoughts that I have had when I was listening to the podcasts. The first podcast, I I was really upset with the parents of the other school. I thought that they were completely out of line, and I was pretty disgusted with their comments. But after the second podcast, it's the district and the state itself are fully to blame for all of the the trouble that the kids have gone through in their education. So many, and especially like lower income areas, so many of their problems are at home, so they need structure and they need consistency in schools. That's how my life was. I had a very chaotic childhood, and so I needed structure at school, and I really didn't receive that either. It's a whole nother story. But so I saw a lot of that in the stories, and it broke my heart because it doesn't set you up for success. It doesn't set you up for collegiate success, and it doesn't set you up for getting a job and all the structure you need to live in order to be a successful grown up. What information affects children in each circumstance? Well, the instability. Kids that are out of school that they're going to stay at, and then they have an influx of new students that go back and forth. That kind of shift in your class and your school dynamic isn't good. I think diversity in your school is good, and diversity in your classroom is great, but inconsistency is not good for kids of any age, people of any age, honestly. Some ways that I could share this learning, I think valuing quality above all. When the honor student took the reporter through his day, um, hearing how poorly his classes, how poor his classes were, how lacking in quality even his AP class that's disgusting. That is in a country like the United States, that should never happen. We are such a wealthy country. Public education should be a top priority, a top, public service. And it's crazy to me that there are schools that are underfunded. I came from an underfunded district. I grew up in an underfunded district, and it makes no sense. I'm glad that we're all, in school to try to make it a little bit better. But I think a lot of the actual institutions are broken. How is a topic a concern beyond something that should be handled in an educational setting? The fact that the parents were so up in arms about students that were different, students that were potential dangers. These are kids. These are kids maybe that are different than you, kids that came from different households, different areas, but the lack of compassion, that is a huge concern. The lessons you're instilling in your children to be fearful of people who are different than you, that was pretty shocking. And that quality education can help counteract that sort of thing at home, but if you're not educating kids in a compassionate way, in an equal way, then that's not going to happen either. Oh, yes. So the website, National Center for Education Statistics, I had a great time. So I'm originally from California and in the Bay Area, and now I live in Seattle, and I teach at a private preschool in Seattle. So I had a great time looking at the schools, the public elementary schools in my area. I live in a predominantly white corner of Seattle. Um, and I also expanded not only from this website, I looked at I think propublica.org, and they have a section called Miseducation, and it goes really in depth on the demographics of public schools. It shows the racial breakup of like the gifted programs. It shows the racial breakdown of discipline. I I spent a long time on these websites. It's super duper interesting to me. I grew up in Oakland where I don't think there's any predominant race. Like in neighborhoods, it's different. There are like pockets, but it's a huge melting pot of a city. But Seattle is much different, so it was really interesting to see specifically the way that students were disciplined, because there there was huge discrepancies. There's no reason that they're with, I think, like 12% of African American students, and then they are 45% of the discipline. That is completely off base. And that means a lot of teachers are not doing their jobs correctly. They're not teaching with quality. Um, and that's hard to see. It's not an easy job, and it's true that not everyone can do it. And I think this week, our podcast and all of our readings, that it was pretty evident that it's more than just books, and it's more than just knowledge. It's a compassion issue, and it's an understanding. We're not in school to learn how to teach one type of student. We're teaching every kid from every family in every situation imaginable. And it's about opening your heart and being able to understand every kid's life. And I think it's a lot more than where they came from. It's giving them the opportunity to decide where they're going. I think that's a lot bigger. I really enjoyed this assignment. I really enjoyed all of the reading this week, and I'm excited for more of the class. Thank you.